25. Check what the word says. There were many priests under the old system, for death prevented them from remaining in office. But because Jesus lives forever, his priesthood lasts forever. This is the verse I wanted you to see. Therefore, he is able once and forever to save those who come to God through him. He lives forever to intercede with God on their behalf. That's the reading of God's holy and unchangeable word. You may be seated. Since we are well on our way, I think we're at day 13 of the Lenten season, our time where we began to prepare ourselves and to concentrate on the Easter celebration that is to come. I want to spend our time together while we're on our way talking under one particular theme or umbrella. I want to talk about why Jesus, the question mark, why Jesus. It's going to be my intent as we move along to make the case for Jesus as the Christ. And so today, sisters and brothers, we'll begin our time, our conversations together with a discussion about the argument that is presented in the book that we call the book of Hebrews. To be sure, we are not exactly certain about the person that wrote this particular epistle or treatise. We don't know who it was, whether it was a woman or a man, but we are sure that they are familiar with the ways of Jewish life. We are not even exactly sure to whom it is written. We're not sure of the particular group. All we know is this is a group of people who once lived or had ancestors that lived in Jerusalem, but they were scattered across the world. But we also know that they were once Jews, but now they believe in Jesus Christ, which makes them Jews who have become Christians. Something else we know is that they were under persecution. They were suffering because of their faith, for they lived, we believe, in the first century. And in the first century, it was not popular to be a Christian. I know that we live in a country now in another century where people don't really care about your religion. Well, in the first century, particularly in the Mediterranean world, religion was a big deal. It mattered because there were political consequences that went along with your religion. As a matter of fact, we could say these people were persecuted by those who were of the Roman Empire because they were Christian. Not only so, but they suffered, sisters and brothers, from some internal disagreements, if you will, for well-meaning people who loved them were trying to drag them back to Judaism. It wasn't that they were attacked by the church. The church just really, or I should say the temple just really thought that they were wrong in their belief in Jesus Christ. And so their loved ones and their friends went to them and said, you know, you really need to come back to the temple and leave this Jesus stuff alone. That's not good for you. But these people were trying to do their best to live according to the will and the way of the Lord. Are we still together in here? And so what happens is we find this treaty, this letter written to them, sisters and brothers, and it can all be summed up in one word. It was written to encourage them. Somebody say encourage. Perfect. It suggests that they were subject to change, and anything that is subject to change lets you know that it has not reached its level of perfection. I bring it to your attention, sisters and brothers, because if we are not careful, even in the year 2013, we will have those who will stand in the place of priest or pastor or prophet and try to make you believe that not only are they perfect, but their ministry is perfect. But the devil is a liar. There is no man on this earth who is, or woman, I might say, who is perfect. As a matter of fact, because they are not perfect, they are subject to change. That's why every now and then, every priest or prophet, every man or woman who stands up in the name of the Lord ought to be careful to tell the people that listen to them, listen, it just like the elder said, I'm not what I used to be, but God is not finished working working on me yet. I have not reached perfection yet. Anytime you find somebody that's not willing to admit they are still a work in process, I don't think you ought to listen to them because obviously they are delusional. Obviously they drank the Kool-Aid. Obviously they don't know what the world they're talking about. And so the priesthood was imperfect because God had to keep changing it, had to keep tinkering with it until he can get it into some kind of manageable form. Not only was the institution of the priesthood not perfect, but the men who operated in the priesthood were not perfect. And they, like the people that they served, was subject to slip up and mess up every now and then. Does anybody remember Samuel's sons and how they were running all the women in the church and stealing from the church's coffers? The priesthood was not perfect and the priests were not perfect. And so God, recognizing, so get this one, sent a priest that we could say really is perfect. Are y'all still walking with me in here? And so the comparison is between the old priesthood, which eventually wore out and was no longer relevant, to the new priesthood. And the new priesthood was man by one. There were many in the old priesthood, but there is only one in the new priesthood. There were many who tried to bring many gifts and talents to the old priesthood. But the truth of the matter is, God said, I'm sending one, and all you need is this one. As a matter of fact, he said, everything that they had, he has, and that much more. As a matter of fact, they don't even have the power. They didn't even have the power that he has today. Listen, they offered sacrifice, but our priest Jesus the Christ came along and said, I am the sacrifice. That when we talk about salvation as it relates to God and his work in our lives, it basically amounts to two words. On the one hand, it says our God is able to rescue us. Yeah, and that doesn't mean much to the people that's never been locked down and don't need to be rescued. But if you've ever found yourself tricked and trapped, it is good news to know that God is able to rescue, get this, or bring you out of that thing that's trying to hold you down. Now, I'm speaking in abstract terms, so you will have to please forgive me. But the truth of the matter is, I have found myself in a situation where my mind was on lockdown. And no matter how hard I tried, I could not get my mind out of that situation. Consequently, because I couldn't get my mind out, I could move my body around, but my life was still trapped. I was so trapped, sisters and brothers, that if anybody had checked me out, they probably would have wanted to commit me to Jackson. But the God that we serve was able to step in and rescue my mind from a bad situation. Now, while you're trying to look down your ecclesiastical nose at me, some of your minds are in here trapped right now, and you don't want to admit it. Your mind is trapped because he or she has been feeding you their best lies, their best lines, and you've been believing that stuff all of these years about what they're going to do for you, and just give them a few more months and just give them a chance, and you keep giving chance after chance after chance, and you don't even realize your mind is trapped. But God said he can and he will set you free. Somebody say, set me free. Check it out, sisters and brothers. Check it out. It says when we talk about salvation and the Lord, not only does it mean to rescue, to come in and to bring you out, but it also means to deliver. That's good news, because rescue says he's bringing me out, but deliverance says he's making the way. Rescue says he's bringing me out, but deliverance is saying he's making a way. Rescue means he's bringing me out, but deliverance says he's pushing people out of my way. Deliverance says he's making the path straight. Deliverance says he's preparing me to go to the place that he already set up for me. Deliverance says I might have to go the long way around, but even in the long way, God is still making a way. I think I like that one.